What's going on, everybody? It's Matt, aka the Lumberjack Landlord. I know that you've missed me. Here I am. I'm back. So this is a very special video today focused specifically on real estate agents. Why do you ask? So we cover flips, we cover investment, we cover kind of all the things that I do, but one thing I rarely talk about is real estate agents. Why is that? No, it's not just because I hate them. It's because most of them I hate. There's a number that are extremely impressive, but I want to talk to you about, from an investor point of view, the differences between somebody that is annoying, calling me on a listing that has just expired, or talking about the person that brings me a deal and says, hey, here, I've got a great opportunity for you. Check this out. So, appreciate all your guys' time. Super excited to be back on the channel. It's been a couple of weeks since the new baby's been born, but hey, we are back and ready to do damage. Cue that beautiful music. Thanks so much again. Super excited to have you here with us. Three main things that I wanted to talk to you about real estate agents and brokers. And this is really for them. So certainly, as a viewer, you can certainly watch it, but I wanted to really focus on something specific for the agents and brokers out there. So we all know what kind of market we're dealing with. Yes, the market is obviously hyper local. However, that being said, we know that in most markets in this country, it is absolutely off the charts because there is no inventory whatsoever. So if you are an agent, what are you doing to help that client get into the house that they want? So three things that I think that are horrible advice that I'm actually hearing agents give to their clients that I think is really important that we at least think about what we're actually doing. The concept of waiving inspections, number one. So I know that they want the house. I know that they're super excited about the house and they can picture all of their children growing up there and having a masterful life there. Guys, if they waive inspections and there is a problem, they are never going to call you again, and likely they will call you nonstop because most buyers have no idea that waiving inspections is a thing. This has become a big trend in this market so you can make your deal look better. Here's the thing. For an investor like me, totally worth it, makes a ton of sense. I should waive inspections. Why? Because I bought about 50 houses. So when I walk through and I take a look, I know what I'm seeing that costs big money to replace or fix or repair. So guys, please don't give the advice of waiving inspections. My advice as an investor is telling new people that are looking at real estate or trying to buy their first home or even their second home and just kind of go up the property ladder is do inspections and do the expensive inspection, like $800 or $1,000. Camera sewer lines, do things like that. I understand that it's a super competitive environment out there, but the last thing that you're going to want to know later on, 6 months after you move in, is that you have a collapsed sewer line that's going to cost you $10,000 to fix. So again, I think that a lion's share of buyers really don't understand what they're doing when they're waiving inspections. So number one, most importantly, do not waive inspections. All right, so quickly on to number two. So the next crazy thing that we're looking at out there is price. And so people say, oh, well, sky's the limit, go up to whatever you were approved for. Guys, don't do that. Don't max out every last dime that you have. Leave yourself a little bit of space. When negotiating that deal, I think a lot of things that buyers don't necessarily understand is something called an escalator clause. So agents, if you aren't using escalator clauses, you should absolutely 100% look into it. Most deals will still accept an escalator clause. That way, your client can feel like they put a great offer out there to start with, but didn't overpay. And number two, they can actually set their ceiling, and it really eliminates a lot of the back and forth and contention. But again, Using that escalator clause, which me as an investor I use, I'll say the house is listed for 550. I'll make an offer with whatever caveats I want in there, and I make my offer. And in this type of a market, it's a full price market plus, right, everybody? So it's a full price market plus. I'll put my offer in for 550. But if I've done the math and I look at it and I say, okay, what's this thing really worth to me? And it's based on, for me, it's based on the numbers. For you as a home buyer that's watching this, it might be based on the numbers. It certainly should be at least a little part of it. Might be school system, might be yard, might be the number of bedrooms. It could be any number of things. But again, before you fall in love, do yourself a favor, talk to your agent about an escalator clause. Let's say it's 550, and then you say, we'll go up in $5,000 increments all the way up to 570 as an example. This is an absolutely critical tactic to utilize in this type of a market. Again, not waiving those inspections, not going out there with the absolute best and final in the mountain. You know, we've actually seen deals, you know, $350,000, $340,000 houses go up to over $400,000. In one case, it was just under $450,000. Now, that escalator clause is fantastic because it allows you and it allows the listing broker or agent to tap out of the deal for you. If they have multiple offers, which if you guys are shopping in this market right now today, there's not a deal likely that you're touching that isn't multiple offers. So if you're in there multiple offers and they have 5 or 6 offers and they look and they see, okay, this has an escalator clause, a bunch of the other offers, not everybody's doing escalators. In fact, very few people do escalators. So I encourage you, talk about doing an escalator. Obviously, it has to still be a price that you're happy with. Understanding you might pay more, but if you do fall in love with that house, you shouldn't. But if you do fall in love with that house, even before you've purchased it, make sure that you've talked to your agent or broker about doing an escalator clause. And if you're an agent or broker, make sure you've brought the idea to your clients. They will love the fact that you're doing something unique and different for them because as I said, a number of agents, because there's so many new agents out there, they have no idea how to actually properly use an escalator clause. So that's number 2. Now, number 1, make sure that you're not waiving inspections. Do not do that. That is a big time problem. Number 2 is, again, the escalator clause. And number 3, and this one is by far the most important because it can get you in the absolute most amount of trouble, do not waive appraisal. Are you guys crazy? I know every agent has clients that, you know, they have plenty of money to invest in the right property for them and for their family, but do not try and make yourself look more attractive by waiving appraisal. Agents need to take the time to explain this to their clients because in many cases, before they know it, there's a house that they love and they're trying to put together a deal and then they're having these conversations. Have the conversation in the very beginning with your client saying, these are the 3 things that we want to make sure that we're still maintaining good habits. If you're patient, you will get the right deal. You're not just going to have that fear of missing out and quickly put a deal together and then have buyer's remorse 3 to 6 months after you moved in because the inspection would have uncovered something else or your escalator went too high, points number 1 and 2, or number 3, you raised and waived the appraisal value, which make sure people understand exactly what that is. When you waive that appraisal value, that means regardless of what it comes back at, if you're buying it for $550,000 and you waive appraisal, if you're buying it for $550,000, the appraisal comes back for $530,000, you are legally on the hook to make up the $20,000 difference, and they can keep your deposit if you decide that you want to back out and you fit all other criteria. Guys, this is super critical. I know there's a ton of new agents that watch the channel. Guys, have these conversations with your customers up front. They will make them customers for life. It will absolutely help them do everything that they need to do to better position themselves for the right deal at the right time. We don't want to overpay. We don't want to take on a house that has a $30,000 or $20,000 maintenance problem that was not discovered during the inspection process. And then once they're notified of that issue, that then carries itself through the other deals. The third piece, and again, appraisals. Do not waive them. They are there to protect you and there to protect the bank to make sure that you don't overpay. Understanding that appraisals are having a tough time right now keeping up because values are going up so quickly, that is a telltale sign that you need to make sure that appraisals are not being waived. I have literally had a piece of property that was appraised within 7 days of each other, and they were 4% off in what they valued the property for. Imagine that, 4%. Two people looked at exactly the same property and one said it was worth 4% less. Let's say it's a $550,000 house and they appraised it for 4% less. And that all of a sudden puts you on the hook for having to bring over $20,000, $22,000 to be exact, $22,000 more to the table that you may or may not have. Imagine what that can do, A, to the deal, and B, you are likely going to lose your deposit because if you qualified in all other areas and there was no appraisal contingency, that is going to be a problem for you. So hopefully you guys find these tips super helpful because I know that I haven't seen videos out there on any of this stuff. But again, as an investor, I put myself in the buyer's shoes and also in the agent's shoes. There's a ton of agents out there that work really, really, really hard. I want to make sure that we can try and help them also work really, really, really smart and work with those clients so those guys are clients for life. So please, I ask you to subscribe. This is the Lumberjack Landlord. We'll talk to you later. Thanks so much, everybody.